Shalom. First and foremost, I want to give all praise, honor, glory to Yahweh, Bahashem Yahushua, Bahashem Rakah HaKodash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone who ruled well and taught me this truth. Peace, blessings, salutations, and mercies to the elect and the 1/3 remnant out there listening and doing this word with all faith and sincerity, scattered amongst the nations and the four corners of the earth. To you, I say Shalom. Lord willing, this street teaching is edifying. Out here another week. Today is Christmas Day, right? So subject is, pretty much self-explanatory, right? We're just gonna go into this day and the wickedness behind it, right? And how you so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans will serve any God but your own God, okay? And there's no secret about how this holiday has a deep root in paganism, right? Matter of fact, there is no biblical reference or practice associated with this holiday at all, right? But you got so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans who will sit back and they'll equate it, they'll draft or graft Christian elements into this day, right? Just really, it's to make themselves feel better, right? Especially now when there is no excuse for it, right? You can't say that you don't know or any ignorant statement like that, because information is all out. If you have a TikTok, a Facebook, a Instagram, or whatever, Snapchat, whatever, this information is definitely findable, very easy to find, right? But our people are just stuck in the ways of the heathen, right? Matter of fact, this is Jeremiah 2:33. Why trimmest thou thy way to seek love? Therefore hast thou also taught the wicked one thy ways, right? And originally this holiday was strictly pagan until Emperor Constantine of the East or the Holy Roman Empire decided to graft in these different pagan holidays, and Constantine was a Jake. He decided to graft in these different pagan holidays and practices and use them to bring in more people to the religion of Christianity, right? And he used, the birth of who the world calls Jesus Christ to justify it like there's any type of association there, and there's not, right? There's no association with these days at all, right, to the scriptures. Matter of fact, the scriptures tell you against these practices, right? This is Jeremiah 10. This is Jeremiah 10. Hear ye the word of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushua. Hear ye the word which Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushua speaketh unto you, O house of Israel. Thus saith Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushua, learn not the way of the heathen, and be not dismayed at the signs of heaven, for the heathen are dismayed at them. Right? Because this day, the origin of this day, which would be Saturnalia, and I'm gonna go into ChatGPT just to get a few references, right, and to put some real information, you know, not just hearsay, out there, right? Because Saturnalia, the worship of the planet Saturn, is where this holiday originated from, right? So, all right, so you got Saturnalia, which is the winter solstice season, and it's a Roman festival, right? Roman Saturnalia, and a major Roman festival honoring Saturn, god of agriculture. So the very act of celebrating this holiday is off or a sly way, right? Because you have been tricked, you've been duped, but at this point it's no longer a trick or ignorance, because everyone knows this, right? How long have brothers been out there teaching, starting off with the apostles and the elders on down? This is common knowledge, man, right? So you are simply worshiping the god of agriculture, which is Saturn, right? Customs, gift giving, feasting and drinking, candles and lights, role reversals, and public celebration, right? So they would do a lot of bugged out shit, right? And it says many of these practices later appear in Christmas celebration, right? So the lights, right? People like to decorate the lights. They like to set up the candles, silent night, right? They make the songs and shit. And then you got the Christmas parade and, you know, all this other bugged out shit that these people do. Gift giving, you know, all these kids are in a very covetous spirit. These people are, especially with social media, all right? People are putting all their gifts and shit on social media. Why? Why are they doing that if it's genuine? Because they have to flaunt what their God has brought them on this day, right? And they do it spiritually, because if you ask them, they're not going to tell you, oh, you know, they'll deny it. Well, this is for Jesus, right? The Lord is not found in any of these customs, man. Okay? We have a custom, right? We have a holy day that's that we partake in during this time. It's called Hanukkah. Right? It has a biblical root. There's a history associated with it. But is anybody going to do it? No. You tell a Jake about it, and they'll hear you, but are they going to practice it and go back to it, right? And start practicing their own customs? No, they're not going to, because they're stuck in the ways of heathen, okay? They're stuck in a heathenistic mindset, because they've been raised and they've been conditioned and they've been programmed around this time of the year to talk about Santa Claus, to think about jingle bells, right? Christmas decorations, elves and shit. Elf is a mythical creature. Santa Claus, some fat white nigga hopping down your chimney, right? Eating cookies and shit. What kind of degenerate mindset is you putting in these kids? To trust strangers like a stranger, an Edomite stranger is gonna be coming in your house at night trying to give you gifts. That sounds like some perverse, you know, pedophile shit, man. But do our people, do they think of it that way? No, they don't. They're so simple and stupid, right? And they're stuck in this bubble, But the Lord's getting ready to pop it, man. It seems like every single year, you people find a way. You create avenues to celebrate this, man. To do this. Be broke as hell, right? I seen a video of this woman talking about her son or whatever, crying, broke down in tears because her son told somebody at the department store that he only had 7 gifts for Christmas. And it hurt the bitch feelings and she all crying and shit. Well, guess what? This your fault. He shouldn't even be celebrating this shit anyway, because it puts demons on kids. Now this kid praying to a god, man, praying to a idol named Santa, Saint Nick, asking him for gifts and shit. You know, we all came from it. I remember being a kid, writing letters to Santa, putting it in a mailbox, right? The North Pole, Rudolph, bugged out, man, right? But this is the traditional practice that these people do, okay? That these heathens have normalized to you, right? But you don't even stop to think for 1 second. When you started the practice of Christmas, where the fuck were you? You were that gift, right? Master got his daughter a handmaid, or his wife a handmaid, right? Or his son a sex slave, right? You don't think about that. You know? Dies Natalis Solstice Invictus, birth of the unconquered sun, right? Which is where the idea of the son, right, of God even comes from, okay? But it's not the son in which you imagine. You people, you think of Jesus. It's not even him, and Jesus ain't even his name. Matter of fact, I forgot to mention that, Salakia, the name of the Heavenly Father is Yahweh, who the world ignorantly calls God, and the name of who the world ignorantly calls Jesus Christ, his name is Yahweh Shai, right? So you've been duped into thinking that, oh, it's the birth of the son. No. This is talking about another son, man. Because we know Yahweh Shai was born in the spring, right? Celebrated December 25th. Honor the sun god Sol Invictus. So the god that the sun god that you're celebrating is Sol Invictus. So our people are completely lost in idolatry, man. Idols upon idols upon idols, and then you wonder why shit ain't going right for you. Why every Christmas you go further and further into debt. And now you come up with this weak ass New Year's resolution like you gonna change some shit. You ain't gonna change nothing. You're gonna get further into debt next year because you started in debt trying to celebrate this weak ass holiday, right? Christmas sweaters and shit. Some of you people only get gifts on this day, which show you how what's the word? It's not authentic, right? For lack of better words. The fact that you're giving a gift isn't authentic, or you're getting the gift isn't authentic, because it's the only gift. You ain't heard from this nigga all year. And now the only time he come with a card and his hand out like, okay, where mine's? The whole year this nigga ain't did shit for you, bought you nothing, right? Ain't spoke to you. You ain't seen this nigga. But all of a sudden on this day, and you're expected to have a gift. You don't even like this nigga, right? You're expected to have a gift for him. What the fuck? That's crazy. Right? But this is what you do for the God in which you've chosen, man. Right? Early, or it says, honored the sun god Soli Victus, marked the sun's rebirth after the winter solstice, because after the winter solstice is, during the time of winter, the sun is out less, right? So these pagans, these heathens, that's where that custom comes from, right? Sun worship, right? Early Christians did not celebrate Jesus' birth for the first 300 years. So the first 300 years of this holiday, there was not even a mention of Jesus the Christ, right? But now there's still, somebody is still sit up here and well, it's about what your heart say and all this bullshit, man, to try to justify their heathen practices. But you're not lying to me. You're lying to yourself, right? Because the Lord knows. Germanic and Norse traditions. Evergreen trees symbolize life, fertility, and endurance, right? Sex. So the evergreen tree represents sex. But that's in all of you people's, all these businesses and shit, they got what? An evergreen tree, a rod, a penis. You got a penis in your house putting gifts up under it, right? Used in winter rituals to honor nature's spirits. Trees were decorated long before Christian use, right? And we got that in Jeremiah. Okay, this isn't a new thing, right? This is old, but it gives, these different, you just give it different names for the same shit, okay? That's why we can say, without a doubt, you people are idolatrous. And you're worshiping a completely different set of gods, right? You have one God, and his name is Yahweh, and his son's name is Yahushua, right? And that's no if, there is nothing else to that. And he gave you clear holidays, clear as day, what you should be celebrating and what you should not, okay? Anything that falls outside of the things in which you should be celebrating are things that you should not celebrate, okay? A multi-day winter festival celebrated the return of longer days, included burning the Yule log, right? And a lot of people, they like to do little Christmas fires and shit. Feasting, you got the Christmas feast, right? Christmas dinner. Honoring gods like Odin. So here's another god, right? The god Odin. Some Yule traditions were absorbed into Christmas culture. The mistletoe, right? Oh, praise God. Sacred plant in Druidic, so this is what the Druids used to practice, religion. Associated with fertility, peace, and protection, right? Used another, so it's another sex object, right? So another pagan practice, because a lot of these heathenistic customs, a lot of them go back to sex worship, right? Whether it's the penis, or if it's the vagina, or if it's the anus, or if it's whatever, it's usually associated with some type of organ of sex, right? Associated with fertility, peace, and protection, used in pagan rituals long before Christianity, right? And I want to say even even the wreath represents a vagina, right? That's why it has the bow at the top, right? What's at the top of a box, right? The clitoris. Okay. It's used in pagan rituals long before Christianity. Its romantic association came later. Gift giving. Practice. Gift giving. Practice during Saturnalia, not originally tied to Jesus' birth, right? And where does it say that you're supposed to give gifts during the time of Yahushua's birth? Either way, it don't even say that. It has nothing. It says nothing about that. Not originally tied to Yahushua's birth, later reinterpreted as symbolic of the Magi's gifts. See, so just any type of way that they could twist the scriptures and twist what the Bible talks about and to fit in this narrative that it's holy, but it's not. Okay? Santa Claus, right? Santa Claus is a blend of Saint Nick, right? An idol, a Christian idol, or it says, I think that falls under Catholicism too, right? Odin, the Norse god, because Odin had the white beard, he traveled through the sky, and he rewards behavior. You can't tell me he's not a god. You can't tell me this isn't a man-made god, a man-made idol, okay? Because the one who ultimately rewards you for good and evil is the Lord himself, okay? But you people, you told your children that Santa Claus is the one who rewards you for good or evil at the end of every year, right? And that puts kids in a state of reverence and fear for an idol, right? I'm gonna do good because, and you got fucking wicked ass nigga women telling their kids and shit, I'm gonna tell Santa Claus he ain't gonna get you nothing for Christmas next year. And the fucking, you know, the little kid don't know no better, so you really think like, fuck, like Santa's gonna be mad at me because I did this. Because I lied, so I gotta tell the truth so Santa can bring me gifts. This shit is bugged out, man. We gotta get the fuck from out of here, man. This is crazy. This is crazy, man. You know? And we wonder as a people, as a collective, Jake is really at awe at how they're in this condition, man. What are these guys ever done for you, man? How have they ever helped you in any type of way? Right? When has Santa came through for you? He never came through for you. But you're gonna keep teaching this to your kids though. This shit is bugged out. European folklore figures. Modern Santa is mostly commercial, not biblical. Okay? Important points. The Bible does not give a birth date for Yahushua. Early Christians focused on his death and resurrection, not his birthday. So when did he die? Passover. But at the same time, he was also born around the time of Passover too, right? He wasn't born in the dead of winter, okay? Just geographically, wintertime in that part of the world, it gets really cold. So he couldn't have been born outside in the manger, right? Not without suffering from illness, right? Or something like it's fucking snow outside. Why would he be out? You know, that's bugged out. But no, he was born in the spring, okay? Christmas became formalized in the 4th century, like I told you, Constantine, after Christianity spread in pagan Rome. Right, because Jake at that time, you know, was ruling in Rome, okay? But, you know, I'm just speaking from, you know, just what, you know, my mind, right, when I say this, because there is no, you know, I can't back it up. But I would think that Jake coming up and he had, you know, inheriting that Roman Empire, wanting to keep Rome, he blended, you know, they blended these different customs and practices of heathen in order to satisfy the Roman Empire in whole, right? This is just my theory, right? Now look at what the fuck it's became, man. And that was off. That was wicked, man. Okay? But that's Jake. That's Jake. That's why I read that scripture. Why trimmest thou way to seek love? Because that was what Jake did. Jake trimmed his way. Gave in to temptation. Right? Bent the knee to Satan. For what? A fucking 1,000 years of rulership in Europe? And now look at us, man. Right? Church leaders often rebranded existing festivals, use familiar customs to help convert pagans. Right? So, that was pretty much it on that, man. Christmas is clearly a pagan holiday. Right? And it's never been anything more, okay? Let me get oh, let me finish this in Jeremiah. This is Jeremiah 10:2. Thus said Yahweh Shem Yahushua, learn not the way of the heathen, and be not dismayed at the signs of heaven, for the heathen are dismayed at them, right? And we just went into the origins of Christmas, which has a heavy root in worshiping the stars, man, the signs of heaven, right? The sun, okay, the stars, the planets. For the customs of the people are vain. For one cutteth the tree out of the forest, the work of the hands of the workmen with the axe. They deck it with silver and with gold. They fasten it with nails and with hammers, that it move not. And that's exactly these people, all right, in modern society continue those same practices, right? Were they using an evergreen tree? Maybe not. But guess what? It's the same idea, right? It's the same shit, just repackaged and brought to you in a different way with a different name to it. But the root of it is idolatry, okay? Because they represent different gods. They are upright as the palm tree, but speak not. They must needs be born, because they cannot go. Be not afraid of them, for they cannot do evil, neither also is it in them to do good. So there's nothing wrong with condemning this wicked ass day, man. Because what the fuck's gonna happen? This day don't mean shit, right? It don't mean a damn thing, okay? And ain't no God gonna do shit about me saying anything about it, you know? Because it's a false day. These are false gods, false idols, in which our people, or the mass majority of people, are stuck on, man. Like it brings joy and cheer. It don't. It brings depression. A lot of people kill themselves, or Salaki, delete themselves around this time of the year, man. You know, depression, anxiety, all these things, debt, all these things are increased around this time of the year because you got the pressure to fulfill this expectation of some goddamn wrapped gifts under a tree, right? Now all of a sudden your woman know you just lost your job and shit, or you maybe not got the income that you want to have, and this bitch is still ask you for some unreal. I want a YSL bag. What? I want them new shoes. What are you talking about? And then, you know what these corporations do? They raise up prices, and then they throw a 30% a 30% discount, but they boosted it 40% to make you feel like you're getting a deal. And your dumb ass out there every year like a damn hamster in the rat wheel, a hamster in a wheel, man. You going out doing the same shit, and you wonder why you're not progressing. Right? Wonder why the Lord ain't doing, like, you know? And then you people You go and do all this shit, and then you turn around and you blame the Lord. You turn around and you get mad at the Lord, and you forsake him, right? At your own doing. Makes no sense, man. This is Amos 5:24. But let judgment run down as waters and righteousness as a mighty stream. The Lord's going to visit you. He's going to visit you. And he ain't coming with gifts. Not the kinds you like. Right? He got gifts of famine and a pestilence and the sword and tribulation and anguish and pain and suffering. Okay, because he had to suffer you through this shit. So he's going to recompense you according to what you've been doing. You've been worshiping other gods. Okay? And that was one thing that he said, and all the way back dating back to the wilderness, man. You should have no other God except me. Right? There should be no gods before you. Right? Matter of fact, come on. Salakia. I'm gonna find you. This is Exodus 20:3. Thou shalt have no other gods before me. Thou shalt not make unto thee any graven image or any likeness of anything that is in heaven above, or that is in the earth beneath, or that is in the water under the earth, that thou shalt not bow down thyself to them, nor serve them. For I am Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushua, thy power, am a jealous God, visiting the iniquity of the fathers upon the children unto the third and fourth generation of them that hate me. So that was the first commandment that the Lord gave. Thou shalt have no other gods before him. And you so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans, you ignore that. You ignore that. Okay? And then you justify it. When you get cut on it, you justify it. There is no justification for it, man. Why would you go out and do something that you know has a root in other gods? I just named, I think, 4 different gods that Christmas idolizes, right? But is that going to stop Jake? No. Jake is going to think, oh, well, that don't apply to me. Well, we're going to see. For your sake, you better hope it don't. Have ye offered unto me sacrifices and offerings in the wilderness 40 years, O house of Israel? Because when we were all the way back in the wilderness, our people had this idolatrous spirit on them, man. What did they create? They created the golden calf, right? And they worshiped and prayed to that and offered incense and burnt sacrifices to that. After seeing the great deliverance, the miraculous miracles that Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushua had performed for us coming out of Egypt. After seeing that, what did they do? They went right back to their bullshit. Okay? But ye have borne the tabernacles of your Moloch and Cohen, your images, the star of your God, which ye made to yourselves, because these are ancient gods, Molech and Cohen, right? That our people have had a history of worshiping, and even to this day, in a lot of indirect ways, our people go back and celebrate these same idols, right? These same fake gods, right? Therefore will I cause you to go into captivity beyond Damascus, saith Yahweh Hashem Yahushua, whose name is the power of hosts. That's why we're in this situation now, because we've always had a heavy spirit of idolatry, right? Jake has always been in the spirit of an idolater, spirit of the heathen. Okay, going back to the time of the Maccabees, right? Which is, you know, coincidentally, around this time of the year, our people have an actual holiday that they can celebrate, but they neglect it. Oh, those are for the Jews, but you are a fucking Jew, right? You are from the tribe of Judah, Benjamin, Levi, right? Simeon, Naphtali, Issachar, Reuben, Gad, Manasseh, right? Levi, right? These different, each prospective tribe you come from, at Asher, right? You come from this lineage of people that are supposed to be referencing Hanukkah. But no, you say, nah, I'm cool, right? That's a little too authentic for me. I got to do some, you know, demonic, right? Which is the spirit of Jake, right? This is back in Jeremiah 2 and 11. Hath a nation changed their gods, which are yet no gods? But my people have changed their glory for that which doth not profit. Okay, these days don't profit you so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans in any way. You know who it profits? Esau. Okay, Esau and these conglomerate of nations that are all aligned against you, because they all receive heavy profits, man. The fourth quarter profits are usually some of the highest profits, right? Because of these holidays, and because they know that they're going to pray, they're going to feast off of the rebelliousness of Jake. First it was ignorance, but now this is just rebellion, okay? Because the truth is out there. The proof is in the pudding, okay? Everybody knows about the Hebrew Israelites, right? But you know, it's not enough. You know, it doesn't satisfy the flesh enough. So Jake has to continue in that learned wicked behavior. Okay? Be astonished, O ye heavens, at this, and be horribly afraid. Be ye very desolate, saith Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushua. Right? Because the earth itself knows. Hey, man, everybody knows, man. Right? The earth itself knows. The heavens know who the chosen are, man. But our people neglected, man. For my people have committed two evils. They have forsaken me, the fountain of living waters, and hewed them out cisterns, broken cisterns that can hold no water. So our people have chosen to forsake the Lord. Our people have chosen this, man. This is the path in which they've chosen to walk, right? They chose these gods that are not gods, okay? They chose to backslide. This is spiritual adultery. You're laying with other women. You are the, or Salaki, you're laying with other men. You are the Lord's woman. Okay? The Lord called you a comely and delicate woman. But you choose to give yourself to these men when your husband is a God, the one true God of all the universe, right? This is Jeremiah 3. They say if a man put away his wife and she go from him and become another man's, shall he return unto her again? Shall not that land be greatly polluted? But thou hast played the harlot with many lovers, yet return to me again, saith Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushua. So you play the harlot. Just on this day, you land with 4 different niggas, right? Minimum. Just on today, okay? And this society is built to make you honor these days in some way, shape, form, or fashion. Because even if you choose to work on this day, you know, which honestly I'd rather be doing. But I am working. But you get holiday pay, even if you don't celebrate it. Esau makes you celebrate these days, man. Right? Businesses are closed. School is out. Right? For Christmas break. Right? So to a certain degree, you know, these days are forced upon you. But it's up to you to embrace them or not. It's up to you to be like, hey man, these are y'all, this is my break for y'all wicked ass day. Which is how we look at it, right? The Lord is, you know, if you're working today, you getting holiday pay. There's no reason to feel bad for it. Matter of fact, the Lord is blessing you, right? He's paying you more than what you should be making because you decided to work on this day, right? So there are ways out of this, okay? You don't have to celebrate this day. You don't have to show up to the family Christmas dinner with a goddamn sweater on and, you know, gifts in hand. You don't got to do that shit, right? If you got a woman that do it, let her ass do it, right? She want to go do that shit, hey, that's between her and the Lord. If she make it, it's for you anyway. It really don't even, you know, as long as she doing right by you, Who gives a fuck? Right? Save yourself the headache. Right? She want to put up a tree in the house? Let that be a reminder why you shouldn't move into it with a woman. You shouldn't move with a woman, man. You shouldn't live with a woman. Because if those demons do hop on her, she ain't do it at your house. Right? Because now now it's a fight that got to ensue because, you know, that's why you shouldn't even live with these women, because these women are who these days target. Okay? These days target women. Because women are simple. Right? They want to do as the Joneses do. They want to keep up with the Joneses. Women don't want to, you know, most women, they don't want people to look at them funny and criticize them, right? Because that's what they do to us, right? So even if she don't necessarily believe in it, she's still gonna do it. Women are the weaker vessel. It is what it is, right? But what are you gonna do, right? Because ultimately, if you are with a woman and she's good to you and all that other shit, you know, she pleases you, what your actions are what's gonna get her saved, right? So just remember that. This is Isaiah 2:6 in the NLT. For Yahweh Shema Shai has rejected his people, the descendants of Jacob, right? You so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans, and those of us scattered amongst the nations that look as the other nations do, but your spirit is different, right? Because they have filled their land with practices from the east and with sorcerers as the Philistines do. They have made alliances with pagans. And the whole practice of Saturnalia and Solesis Invictus, that came from, or that being intertwined with modern Christianity, came from an actual Israelite man, a Jake, right? Constantine, Emperor Constantine, right? He made an alliance with these pagans in order to, you know, my theory, to stay in power, right? Their land, or Salakia, Israel is full of silver and gold. There is no end to its treasure. Their land is full of war horses. There is no end to its chariots. Their land is full of idols. The people worship things they have made with their own hands. Right. Jake is especially during this time of the year, pretty much after the 4th of July, it's idol season. You got the Day of the Dead, you got Halloween, you got Thanksgiving, you got Christmas, you got New Year's, you got Valentine's Day, right? And then you kind of get a break, right? And then you got Easter, which is, you know, it should just be Passover, but Christian culture is Easter, right? But this is the season, these October, November, December, January, February, these 5 months are all full of idolatry, man, right? Full of it, okay? And that's why the Lord, that's a reason, a big part of why the Lord has casted us away, right? A big part. This is Ezekiel 20 and 6. In the day that I lifted up mine hand unto them to bring them forth of the land of Egypt into a land that I had espied for them, flowing with milk and honey, which is the glory of all lands. So when the Lord brought us out of Egypt during the time of Moses, then said I unto them, cast ye away every man the abominations of his eyes, and defile not yourselves with the idols of Egypt. I am Yahweh Shem Yahushua, your power. Right? But they rebelled against me and would not hearken unto me. They did not every man cast away the abominations of their eyes, neither did they forsake the idols of Egypt. Then I said unto them, I will pour out my fury upon them to accomplish mine anger against them in the midst of the land of Egypt. Right? So the Lord, it's the reason we were in the wilderness 40 years, man, because our people refused to repent. Our people refused to turn away from the idols in which they had learned to love in Egypt, in our captivity. Okay? So the Lord had to kill off our entire generation of people in order for us to finally inherit the land. And guess what? He's doing that again. We're doing that again, man. But this time, you're not going to get out of Egypt, right? You're going to be kept in Egypt, and you're going to be wasted and destroyed in Egypt, right? And we know Egypt today is America, right? This is yet today Egypt and Sodom, right? So if you don't want to put down these idols, if you don't want to change and repent, right, then the Lord is going to leave you here. You know, this is the wilderness, right? Spiritually, okay? But I wrought for my name's sake that it should not be polluted before the heathen, among whom they were, and in whose sight I made myself known unto them, in bringing them forth out of the land of Egypt. Right, but so the Lord, he didn't do it to us then, right? He didn't do it to us. He thought about it, but he didn't destroy us all. Why? Because of the name that he gave us. He put his name on us, man. That's the same reason why he's going to deliver us now. Okay? Because he has every reason to eradicate us and do away with us as a people. You know? But he's giving us instead a chance to repent. This is the grace period. Right? Because he's going to redeem us for his name's sake. Okay? But our people have a serious problem with idolatry, man. This is This is Micah 5:10, and it shall come to pass in that day, saith Yahweh Shema Ushai, that I will cut off thy horses out of the midst of thee, and I will destroy thy chariots. So all these things in which Jake thinks is bringing him prosperity, he looks at, you know, a nigga get a nice car, okay? A nigga get a house with some white folks, right? Jake think he owned, okay? But the Lord said he's going to cut that off. All right, he's going to destroy it. And I will cut off the cities of thy land and throw down all thy strongholds. Right? Because the Lord is bringing judgment upon you so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans. Right? And I will cut off witchcrafts out of thine hand, and thou shalt have no more soothsayers. Right? So all these weak-ass pastors, okay, all these witches and warlocks that our people love to go to, psychic readings and shit, and fucking astronomers, and, you know, Esau, right? Your psychiatrist, your doctor. The Lord's going to cut all of this off, man. He's going to bring this place completely into darkness, right? And that's where the elect are going to shine, right? Because we're going to possess the light of Yahweh Shema Ushai. Why? Because we kept this word. Okay? We kept this word. We're keeping this word to the best of our ability. We ain't doing it we're not perfect. But our love for Yahweh Shema Ushai is perfect, man. Lord willing, we part of that number. Okay? Thy graven images also will I cut off, and thy standing images out of the midst of thee. So all these idols in which Jake serves and worships, because there are countless. It's a lot, man. It's a lot. And a lot of them are people too. Our people are heavy into idolizing men and women, right? So the Lord's going to bring all of them down. I mean, look what happened with Diddy. Okay? That's why it seems like every, you know, other week or month or so, the Lord, he kills off a so-called celebrity that Jake looks up to. Why? You know, to remind you niggas that they're not gods. They're not the people in which you were seeing them to be, or he brings out the truth behind them about how they into all these wicked-ass, satanic-ass rituals and celebrations, right? Orgies and all type of other weird shit, right? And thou shalt no more worship the work of thy hands, and I will pluck up thy groves out of the midst of thee. So will I destroy thy cities, and I will execute vengeance in anger and fury upon the heathen, such as they have not heard. So the Lord said he's going to execute and bring vengeance upon the heathen, man. But these are the same heathen that our people align themselves with so fervently, okay? Our people love these heathens, man. They love the celebrations that they do, okay? They love everything about the culture, okay? They love this time of year. They love the customs, the practices. They love the holidays. And they love the names that the heathen gave them. So the Lord's going to give you the judgment that he's going to give the heathen, man. All right? So, you know, with that, Lord willing, this was edifying. I want to give all praise, honor, glory to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahushua, Bahashem, Rakakudash, double honors to the apostles and elders, great millstone, who ruled well and taught me the truth. Peace, blessings, salutations, and mercies to the elect and the 1/3 remnant out there listening, doing this word with all faith and sincerity. So, Shalom, DTA, Abad Pabal, and DTN. Shalom.